Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel NCRT series. Today we are starting with a new chapter, that is chapter 9, Vital Villages, Thriving Towns, Iron Tools and Agriculture. So the use of iron began in the subcontinent around 3000 years ago. Then the largest collection of iron tools and weapons were found in the megalithic burials. And we have discussed about megalithic burials in our previous chapters. Next we shall see some of the stages in construction of irrigation works. So yeah, king need money for armies, palace, forts. So what he used to do, he used to demand taxes from the farmers. Now farmers now farmers have to increase production to pay those taxes. So this was possible with irrigation. And so king used to provide money and plan the irrigation works, and labor was provided by the people. So hence production increases. As production increases, revenue also increases. From this, farmers also benefit because crop production is more certain. Next, who lived in the villages? Actually, there were three different kinds of people who used to live in all the northern subcontinent. And in the Tamil region, large landowners they were known as Vellalar, and ordinary plowmen they were known as Uzavar, and landless laborers, including the slaves, they were called as Kadaisiyar and Adimai. And in coming to the northern part, the village headman he was known as a Grambojka. And this post was hereditary. Hereditary means after him his son used to be the Grambojka. And Grambojka is the largest landowner, and on a king's order he used to collect taxes, and sometimes used in a village he used to act like a judge or a policeman. And independent farmers means farmers who are smaller landowners, and they were called as grihapatis. Then dasa and karmakara, these are the people who had no land and had to earn a living working on the fields. Next, finding out about cities, stories, travelers, sculpture and archaeology. So coming to this, Jatakas. So, Jatakas, these are the stories composed by the ordinary people, and these have been preserved by the Buddhist monks. And archaeologists have found the rows of pots or ceramic rings arranged on top of the other, and these are known as the ring walls. I'll show you the image of that. See, these are the ring walls. One second. And maybe these were used as a toilets, drains or a garbage dumps. And another way of finding about the early cities is from the accounts of sailors and travelers. So by the accounts of sailors and travelers, we could know about our past. We skipped this. One second. Yeah, the earliest Tamil composition. So some of the earliest works in Tamil, this is known as the Sangam literature, and these were composed about 2300 years ago. And why were they called Sangam? Because they were supposed to have been composed and compiled in assemblies of the poets that were held in the city of Madurai. Next, coins. So the earliest coins which were in use for about 500 years, they were called punch marked coins. We'll see the image. Yeah, these are the punch marked coins, and these were generally rectangular or sometimes square or round in shape, either cut out of the metal sheets or they are made up of the flattened metal globules. And the coins were not inscribed. So these coins they are not inscribed one. They were stamped with a symbol using a dice or a punches. Hence they are called as the punch mark coins. Next, cities with many functions. So, Mathura was an important settlement for more than 2500 years ago. Why it was important settlement? Because it was located in the crossroads of the major routes of travel and trade. This city was fortified from all the northwest, east, south side, and extremely fine sculpture were produced in these cities. And around 2000 years ago, Mathura became the second capital of Kushanas, and we'll study about this Kushanas in our later chapters. Then important and even Mathura was the important center for the worship of Krishna. And even Mathura was a religious center because Buddhist monasteries, Jain shrines were present here. Next, crafts and craftsperson. So, northern black polished ware. So, what is this northern black polished ware? So it's a hard wheel made metallic looking ware with a shiny black surface, and the potter used to expose the earthenware to very high temperature in his kiln, which resulted in the blackening of its outer surface. So a fine black slip was also applied on this, which gave a pottery a mirror-like shine. And there were famous centers such as Varanasi in the north, Madurai in the south. Both men and women worked in these centers. Next, we shall see about Shrenis. So, association formed by the craftsperson and merchants, they are known as Shrenis. And here training and raw materials were provided, and finished goods were then later distributed. These Shrenis, they also serve as a bank where rich men and women deposited money, and this was invested, and a part of the interest was returned to them, or it was used to support the religious institutions such as the monasteries. We shall see the rules for spinning and weaving. The rules for spinning and weaving, these rules are taken from the Arthashastra. In this, widows, young women who are differently abled, nuns, mothers of courtesans, retired women servants of the king, and women who have retired from service in temples may be used for processing wool, bark, cotton, hemp, and flax. And they should be paid according to the quality and quantity of the work. If a woman does not complete her work, she'll have to pay a fine, and her thumb can be cut off. Next, we shall see about Arikamedu. So, between 2200 and 1900, Arikamedu was a coastal settlement where ships unloaded goods from the distant load. And other fields like pottery from the Mediterranean region, such as amphorae. Amphorae means the tall double-handled jars, that contain liquids such as the wine or oil. And a stamped red glazed pottery that is known as the Aretine ware. And Aretine ware, this name is taken after a city in Italy. Then even small tanks have been found in this place, Arikamedu. So Augustus is one of the most important emperor in a Rome, and he converted a Rome, which Rome first it was called as a city of brick. After Augustus, he converted that into a city of marble. So yeah, this was all about this chapter, and all these notes are available in my Instagram ID UPSC Zone. Please do follow it. Link in the description. Thank you for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe my channel NCERT series, and do press the bell icon to get the notification as soon as I upload any of the videos. Thank you so much.